You're embarrassment-free now, just like you wanted. The smell of barbecue smoke and cheap cologne hung thick in the evening air as the suburban fire department's annual charity gala kicked into full swing. I was reaching for my wallet to buy Becky another glass of wine when she grabbed my arm, her perfectly manicured nails digging into my dress uniform sleeve. "Don't ask me to dance tonight," she hissed, her voice barely audible over the country band. "You don't understand. I can't be seen dancing with you in that uniform." I looked down at my wife of 25 years, this woman I'd built a life with, raised 2 kids with, paid off a mortgage with. Her blonde highlights caught the glow from the string lights, but her green eyes were ice cold. Behind her, I could see our neighbor Angela Foster smirking, arms crossed over her designer jacket, like she was watching her favorite reality show. "Can't be seen dancing with me?" I repeated, genuinely confused. "Becky, this is the fire department's biggest fundraiser. These are my colleagues. Your uniform, James, your dad jokes with the neighbors, the way you still think a Budweiser is sophisticated." She glanced back at Angela, who nodded approvingly. "I'm on a fitness journey now. I need to network with people who understand that lifestyle." Network at a charity gala for first responders in suburban Ohio. Right. I felt something cold settle in my chest, but I kept my voice level. "You know what, Becky? You're absolutely right." Her eyebrows shot up. She'd been expecting a fight. "I am embarrassing," I continued, loud enough for Angela to hear. Embarrassing that, after 25 years of marriage, my wife treats her husband like a diseased dog at a public event. "You want to network? Go ahead. I'll be at the bar with people who actually respect what I do for a living." I turned and walked toward the exit, leaving her standing there with her mouth hanging open. The crowd parted around me as I made my way through the gala grounds, past the silent auction tables and the dance floor, past Lieutenant Tony Ricci, who started to wave until he saw my expression. My phone buzzed before I even reached my truck. "Where did you go?" Becky texted. I typed back, "Somewhere I'm not embarrassing." Then I blocked her number. The drive home took exactly 12 minutes. 12 minutes to process 25 years of marriage dissolving into whatever that mess was. Our house sat on Maple Creek Drive, a colonial that we'd finally paid off last year. Becky had insisted on the expensive kitchen renovation, the hardwood floors, the perfect paint colors that cost more per gallon than most people spend on groceries. I parked in our driveway and sat there for a moment, engine ticking as it cooled. Through the living room window, I could see the bookshelf we'd built together, the couch where we used to watch movies, the framed photo from our wedding day. Becky in white, me in my dress blues, both of us grinning like idiots. That man... The photo wouldn't recognize the woman who'd just humiliated him in public. I went inside and methodically packed my things. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, my firefighting awards from the basement office. Everything fit into 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. 25 years reduced to luggage. The house keys went on the kitchen counter next to a note. "Congrats, the master bedroom's all yours now. Just Jay." My phone had 17 missed calls from Becky by the time I checked into the Hampton Inn downtown. I deleted them all without listening. Instead, I called Tony Ricci. "Cap, it's almost midnight, man. Everything okay? Remember that fire inspector position in Columbus, the one that comes with the consulting fees?" "Yeah, but I thought you said Becky didn't want to move away from her fitness routine." "Becky's not part of the equation anymore. Can you call Chief Morrison tomorrow? Tell him I'm interested." Silence on the other end, then. "Jesus, Cap, what happened?" "My wife happened, or rather, my ex-wife happened." I hung up and opened my laptop. If Becky wanted to network, she was about to learn what real networking looked like. I spent the next hour crafting a LinkedIn post that would make the rounds in every fire department in Ohio. The post was perfect, professional, inspiring, just personal enough to be compelling. I talked about toxic relationships holding back first responders, about the freedom that comes from cutting dead weight, about how sometimes the hardest personal decisions lead to the best professional opportunities. After 25 years in fire service and 25 years of marriage, I've learned that both require the same fundamental principle: trust. When someone repeatedly demonstrates they can't be trusted to have your back when it matters most, you have 2 choices. You can keep pretending everything's fine while the foundation crumbles, or you can make the hard call to protect what's still worth saving. Tonight, I chose protection over pretense. Sometimes the most courageous thing a firefighter can do isn't running into a burning building, it's walking away from a relationship that's already consumed by flames you can't extinguish. I'm grateful for my brothers and sisters in the fire service who understand that loyalty isn't just a word on a patch, it's a way of life. Looking forward to new opportunities where that loyalty is valued and returned. I never mentioned Becky by name, but anyone who knew us would connect the dots. I hit post at 1:47 a.m. By morning, my phone was exploding, not with calls from Becky this time, but with interview requests, job offers, and congratulations from colleagues who'd apparently been waiting years for me to dump my difficult wife. The LinkedIn post had gone viral in fire service circles, shared hundreds of times across professional networks. Comments poured in from firefighters across the country, sharing their own stories of marriages that couldn't survive the stress of the job, or worse, marriages that had actively worked against their service. Proud of you, brother. Takes guts to make the hard call. Captain Miller, Detroit FD. Been there, Cap. The job's hard enough without fighting battles at home, too. Lieutenant Rodriguez, Phoenix FD. Your loyalty deserves better. Welcome to freedom. Chief Anderson, Nashville. FD. The Columbus position came through by noon. Consulting fee that was double my current salary, start date next Monday. 3 other departments reached out before 2 p.m. I was loading my truck when Becky's Mercedes screeched into the hotel parking lot. She jumped out wearing yesterday's dress, her perfect hair now a rat's nest, mascara smudged under her eyes. James, what the hell is this? She waved her phone at me. Everyone's talking about your stupid post. My mom called me crying. Ryan and Megan won't even answer my calls. Sounds like a personal problem, I said, loading my laptop bag into the truck. You can't just leave. We're married. We have a house, kids, a life together. Had, I corrected. Past tense. You made it pretty clear last night that being associated with me was beneath your new fitness standards. I was just... Angela said... She trailed off, realizing how pathetic that sounded. Angela said what? That your husband of 25 years wasn't good enough to be seen with? That the man who paid for that house you loved so much was embarrassing you? I slammed the tailgate shut. Well, congratulations, Becky. You're embarrassment-free now. I got in the truck and drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot. In my rearview mirror, I watched her get smaller and smaller until she disappeared entirely. The consulting job in Columbus lasted 3 months, but those 3 months changed everything. The work was challenging in ways I'd forgotten I missed. Analyzing fire safety protocols for major corporations, designing evacuation plans for high-rise buildings, training emergency response teams. I'd lost 20 pounds, started running again, and discovered that I actually enjoyed being alone. No more walking on eggshells, no more apologizing for existing, no more Angela's snide comments over neighborhood barbecues. But I wasn't ready to disappear completely. Tony had been sending me updates, and they were fascinating. Week 3. Becky's been asking around about divorce lawyers, expensive ones, he texted. Week 7. Saw her at Gold's Gym with some guy in designer workout gear. Didn't look like just training. Week 12. The guy's name is Brad Morrison, personal trainer, Instagram influencer, drives a BMW like he's compensating for something. Brad Morrison. I looked him up that night in my Columbus apartment. His Instagram was exactly what I'd expected. Shirtless mirror selfies, motivational quotes overlaid on gym photos, and video testimonials from middle-aged women talking about their transformation journeys. His bio read, elite personal trainer and life coach, helping committed clients unlock their true potential. DM for VIP consultation. The comments section was a goldmine. Dozens of married women posting fire emojis and hard-eye faces, talking about how Brad had changed their lives and helped them discover who they really were. Their husbands were notably absent from their Instagram feeds. Week 18, they're not being subtle anymore. His car was parked in your driveway overnight twice this week, came Tony's next update. That one hit different. Our driveway. The driveway I'd shoveled for 25 winters, where I'd taught Ryan to change his first tire, where Megan had practiced driving before her license test. Now it was hosting the BMW of some Instagram influencer who was fucking my wife. Week 24, Megan called me, Said her mom's been telling people you abandoned the family, playing the victim card hard. I called Megan that night. My 18-year-old daughter, a freshman at Ohio State studying engineering, had always been Daddy's girl. She was the one who'd insisted on riding in the fire truck during the department's annual open house, who'd peppered me with questions about hydraulics and ladder mechanics until she could explain the equipment better than some rookies. Dad? Her voice was small when she answered. I was hoping you'd call. How are you holding up, sweetheart? I'm confused. Mom keeps saying you just left without trying to work things out. She says you were having some kind of midlife crisis and abandoned us. I closed my eyes, feeling that familiar cold settle in my chest. Megan, what exactly did your mom tell you about why I left? She said you got offered a job and just took it without talking to anyone, that you were selfish and couldn't handle her trying to improve herself. And what do you think about that story? There was a long pause. Dad, I've known you my whole life. You taught me to check facts before accepting conclusions. You never made a major decision without talking it through with all of us first. Even when you got promoted to captain, you asked our opinion about the schedule changes. Smart girl. What else is bothering you? This guy Brad, he's creepy, Dad. He talks to me and Ryan like he's trying to be our new dad or something. And the way he touches Mom in front of us... She shuddered audibly. Ryan walked out of dinner last week because of it. My son Ryan, 20 years old and built like the college wrestler he was, had inherited my protective instincts along with my stubborn streak. If he'd walked out, things were bad. Has he done anything inappropriate to you? I asked, my voice harder than I'd intended. No, nothing like that. But Dad, he posts all these videos of his training sessions with married women and they're gross. Mom doesn't seem to realize she's just another conquest for his social media. I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Do you and Ryan want me to come back and try to fix this? Another long pause. Dad, I love Mom, but the person she's become, she's not the mom who used to help me with science projects and cheer at my soccer games. She spends 3 hours a day at the gym, posts selfies constantly, and talks about nothing but her fitness journey and her authentic self. It's like she's become a different person. That doesn't answer my question. I want my family back, but not this version of it. Not with her treating you like garbage and parading around with some Instagram douchebag. Ryan feels the same way. After I hung up, I sat in my Columbus apartment and made a decision. I wasn't coming back to fix things. That ship had sailed the night Becky told me I was too embarrassing to dance with. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite our family's history either. I flew back to Ohio on a Friday in December, 3 months to the day after I'd left. The suburbs were decorated for Christmas, painting the neighborhood in brilliant reds and greens. It should have felt like coming home. Instead, it felt like returning to a crime scene. Tony picked me up at the airport, grinning as he loaded my bags into his truck. You look good, Cap. Columbus agrees with you. Thanks. Fill me in on everything. Brad Morrison's a piece of work, Tony said as we drove through downtown. 35 years old, owns Morrison Fitness. Built that Instagram following, selling workout plans to bored housewives. Divorced twice already. Guy's got a reputation. What kind of reputation? The kind where married women suddenly discover their husbands don't understand their fitness journey. Right around the time Brad shows up with his supplement shakes and his lifestyle coaching. Tony turned onto Maple Creek Drive. But here's the thing. His ex-wives have been talking. Apparently, Brad's business model involves more than just personal training, if you catch my drift. We drove past the community center where I used to coach Ryan's baseball team. Through the windows, I could see families setting up for some holiday event. Normal people living normal lives, not destroying their marriages for Instagram influencers. Where do they meet? VIP members night at his gym, every Tuesday and Thursday. Becky tells people she's at Pilates class. Tony grinned. Creative, but it gets better. Brad's been posting stories about his mature clients who've discovered their true potential. Something cold and familiar settled in my chest. The same feeling I'd had at the gala, but sharper now, more focused. How do you know all this? Fire department wives talk, Cap. And when one of their own starts acting like she's too good for her firefighter husband, they notice. Plus, my wife follows all the neighborhood Facebook groups. These women see everything. Over the next week, I conducted what I like to call reconnaissance. Coffee with our kids, lunch with former neighbors, casual conversations with people who'd known us as a couple. The picture that emerged was fascinating and infuriating in equal measure. Becky had been busy rewriting history. According to her version of events, I'd been emotionally unavailable, financially controlling, and had abandoned the family without warning. She was the long-suffering wife who'd finally found someone who appreciated her potential. The problem with Becky's story was that she'd forgotten how small communities work. People talk, and they remember everything. She came to book club last month, said Carol Peterson, our neighbor. Spent the whole time complaining about how you never supported her fitness goals, never wanted to travel, never this, never that. But Carol, added her sister Janet. I remember when James got that promotion to captain. Becky threw him a party, invited half the neighborhood. She was so proud. And didn't they go to Hawaii for their 20th anniversary? Carol continued. I remember Becky showing us all those photos, going on about how romantic James was for planning the whole trip around that sunset dinner cruise. The financial control narrative was particularly rich, considering that I'd been the one encouraging Becky to go back to school, had paid for her certification courses, and had never once questioned her spending habits. Even when she'd blown $3,000 on a home gym she'd used exactly twice. James, said our neighbor Bob Martinez, I don't know what Becky's been saying, but I was there when you guys bought that Peloton bike. You surprised her with it for Mother's Day, remember? Had it delivered while she was at work, set it up in the bedroom with flowers and everything. The bedroom she now claims was too small for her fitness journey, his wife Elena added. Funny how stories change when people want to justify bad behavior. But the most interesting information came from Brad's second ex-wife, Lisa Morrison. I found her at the Starbucks on Miller Road, working on her laptop at a corner table. She was attractive in a natural way that was the complete opposite of the high-maintenance aesthetic Brad seemed to prefer. When I introduced myself, her face went through several expressions before settling on sympathetic understanding. You're Rebecca Sullivan's husband, she said. It wasn't a question. Ex-husband, technically, though the divorce isn't final yet. Lisa nodded knowingly. Brad has a type, married, insecure, looking for validation. He's very good at making women feel like they're settling for less than they deserve. How long were you married? 8 years. I thought we were building something together. She closed her laptop, giving me her full attention. Then he started this Instagram thing, began coaching married women who wanted to transform their lives. Classic stuff. I'm sorry. Don't be. Best thing that ever happened to me. She gestured to her laptop, her simple clothes, the genuine smile that had replaced whatever mask she'd worn as Brad's wife. I got half his business assets in the divorce, including some very interesting financial information about how he trains his VIP clients. She leaned forward, lowering her voice. James, can I ask you something? Has your wife been spending unusual amounts of money lately? New clothes, expensive supplements, maybe some cosmetic procedures? I thought about the credit card bills I'd been getting forwarded to my Columbus address. Actually, yes. How did you know? Because that's part of Brad's method. He convinces these women they need to invest in themselves to reach their full potential. Personal shopping sessions, premium supplements that cost more than groceries, sometimes even plastic surgery. He gets a cut from his preferred vendors, and the women think they're empowering themselves. That's fraud. It's predatory, definitely. Illegal? That's harder to prove. Lisa pulled out her business card. But here's the thing. I kept detailed records during our divorce proceedings. Financial irregularities, client testimonials that crossed professional boundaries, evidence of his pattern with married clients. She handed me the card. If you ever want to compare notes about our respective exes, I usually work here weekday mornings. And James, be careful. When Brad's relationships implode, he doesn't go quietly. I walked away with more than a business card. Lisa had given me something much more valuable. Perspective. Brad Morrison wasn't just a home wrecker. He was a predator with a pattern, and Becky wasn't really a victim. She was a willing participant who'd thrown away 25 years of marriage for a man who collected wives like Instagram followers. That night, I sat in my hotel room and made a list. Not a revenge list. I wasn't some movie villain plotting elaborate schemes. Just a simple accounting of facts, timeline, and resources. Becky wanted to rewrite our history. Fine. But she'd forgotten that I was the one with the investigative skills, the methodical mind, and the patience to play the long game. She had also forgotten that, in tight-knit communities, the truth has a way of surfacing, whether you want it to or not. Tuesday night at Morrison Fitness was exactly as Tony had described. I sat in my rental car across the street, watching Becky's Mercedes pull into the parking lot at 7:15 p.m. She'd dressed up for the occasion, designer workout clothes that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment, the expensive jewelry I'd bought her for our 20th anniversary, hair and makeup like she was going to a photo shoot. Brad's BMW was already there, parked in the back corner like he was trying to be discreet. Amateur move. In a neighborhood this connected, everyone noticed a car like that. I waited 30 minutes, then walked into the gym like I belonged there. The place was exactly what I'd expected. All chrome and mirrors, motivational posters about unleashing your potential. The kind of space designed to make regular people feel inadequate about their normal lives. They were in the VIP lounge area, Brad's hand covering Becky's across a protein shake table. She was laughing at something he'd said, that fake laugh she used when she wanted something. I'd heard it 1,000 times during our marriage, usually directed at her boss or some client she was trying to impress. For 20 minutes, I watched my wife of 25 years flirt with a man young enough to be Ryan's older brother. Brad was handsome in that generic Instagram way. Perfectly styled hair, teeth that had definitely seen a cosmetic dentist, the kind of artificially bronzed tan that came from expensive treatments rather than honest work outdoors. I bought a day pass from the teenage receptionist and found a treadmill with a perfect view of their corner. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, a career firefighter in better shape than most men half my age, watching my wife chase a lifestyle influencer who probably couldn't run a mile without stopping to take selfies. When Brad excused himself to the bathroom, I made my move. I walked over to their table like I had just spotted an old friend. "Hey, Becky?" She looked up at me with those green eyes I'd once thought were beautiful. Now they just looked calculating. "James, I didn't know you were back in town. Just wrapping up some business. You must be Brad Morrison." He'd returned from the bathroom and was trying to project confidence, but couldn't quite hide the nervousness in his eyes. "That's right. You must be Rebecca's ex-husband." "Not ex yet, but I appreciate the optimism." I looked around the VIP lounge, taking in the Instagram-worthy setup. "Nice place. Very aspirational." Becky's cheeks flushed. "James, don't make a scene." "A scene? Like the scene you made at the fire department gala? Or the scene you've been making all over the neighborhood, telling people I abandoned my family?" I kept my voice conversational, but loud enough for other gym members to hear. "That's an interesting story, Becky. Very creative." "I never said you abandoned us," she said, but her eyes darted away. "Really? Because Megan seems to think otherwise. So does Ryan. Funny how kids notice when their mom starts rewriting family history." I turned to Brad. "Has she told you about our kids yet? Ryan's at Ohio State on an academic scholarship. Megan's studying engineering. Great kids. We raised them in the house I've been paying for since before you started your first Instagram account." Brad's confidence was cracking. "Look, man, Rebecca and I are just working on her fitness goals." "Fitness goals," I repeated. "Is that what you call it when your BMW is parked in another man's driveway overnight?" The gym had gotten quieter. People were pretending to work out while hanging on every word. Becky realized it too, and her voice dropped to a hiss. "You have no right to spy on me." "Spy? Becky, you live in a neighborhood where Mrs. Henderson can tell you what everyone had for breakfast. You might as well have been broadcasting on the local news." I looked back at Brad. "Speaking of broadcasting, how's Lisa doing? Your second ex-wife? She seems much happier these days. We had coffee yesterday." Brad's face went white. "You talked to Lisa?" "Lovely woman. Very insightful about your business practices. She mentioned something about financial irregularities that came up during your divorce. Something about mixing personal training with personal services." That hit home. Brad's carefully maintained composure cracked completely. "I don't know what she told you, but she told me enough." I pulled out my phone and showed them both the screen, including the names and contact information of your other ex-clients. Amazing how many married women have similar stories about your VIP training methods. That was a bluff, but a calculated one. Lisa had given me enough information to know Brad's pattern, and his reaction confirmed I was on the right track. "We should go," Brad said to Becky, already reaching for his designer gym bag. But Becky wasn't done. She'd had just enough pre-workout supplements to be reckless, and 25 years of marriage had taught me to recognize that particular glint in her eyes. "You think you're so smart," she said, standing to face me. "Coming back here with your little investigation, trying to embarrass me. But everyone knows what you really are, James. Everyone knows you're a pathetic loser who couldn't keep his wife happy." The gym was dead silent now. Even the music seemed to have stopped mid-song. "You're right," I said calmly. "I couldn't keep you happy, but then again, I don't think anyone could. Happiness requires gratitude, and you've never been grateful for anything in your life." Becky's hand moved before I saw it coming, but 25 years of marriage had also taught me to anticipate her reactions. I caught her wrist before the slap connected, not roughly, but firmly enough to stop her. "Don't," I said quietly. "You've embarrassed yourself enough for one night." I released her wrist and stepped back. Becky stood there shaking with rage while Brad looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. "This isn't over," Becky said. "Yes, it is," I replied. "It's been over since the night you told me I was too embarrassing to be seen with. You just didn't realize it yet." I walked out of Morrison Fitness and didn't look back. Behind me, I could hear the low murmur of conversation starting up again, and I knew that by morning, half the neighborhood would know exactly what had happened. The consequences came faster than I'd expected. Within 48 hours, Brad Morrison's carefully constructed empire began to crumble. Lisa Morrison had been busy behind the scenes, and my confrontation had apparently been the catalyst she'd been waiting for. It started with the non-compete clause Lisa had cleverly included in her divorce settlement. Brad had violated it the moment he started training married clients in ways that went beyond fitness consulting, and Lisa had the documentation to prove it. By Wednesday morning, Morrison Fitness received a cease and desist order that effectively shut down his VIP program. But the real damage came from the network of women Lisa had connected with, Brad's other ex-clients who'd been afraid to speak up individually. Once they realized they weren't alone, the stories started flowing. Financial manipulation, inappropriate boundaries, promises of transformation that always seemed to require more money and more personal investment. The final blow came when Brad's business partners discovered he'd been using company resources for his personal Instagram operation, including filming training sessions in their facility without proper releases or insurance coverage. By Friday, Morrison Fitness was closed permanently, with Brad facing potential legal action from multiple directions. Becky called me on Thursday morning, her voice smaller than I'd heard it in years. "James, can we talk?" "About what?" "Brad's gone. His gym is closed. He won't return my calls." Her voice cracked. "The kids won't speak to me. Ryan drove down from Columbus just to tell me how disappointed he is. Megan hasn't answered my texts in 3 days." I said nothing, letting the silence stretch between us. "I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you, hurt our family. But we can fix this, can't we? 25 years has to count for something." The thing about firefighting is that it teaches you to assess situations quickly. You learn to recognize when something can be saved and when it's too far gone. When the structure is so compromised that the only safe option is to let it burn and protect what you can. "Becky," I said quietly, "you didn't just hurt me. You humiliated me in front of my colleagues, lied to our children, and threw away 25 years of marriage for a man who collects wives like Pokemon cards. That's not something you fix with a conversation." "But I love you," she said, and for the first time in months, I heard the woman I'd married in her voice. "I made a mistake, a terrible, stupid mistake, but I love you." "Maybe you do, but love isn't enough anymore. Trust is, respect is. And those things, once broken, don't just heal because you want them to." The months that followed were a gradual transition rather than a sudden shift. I moved back to Columbus permanently, expanding the consulting business into 3 counties. The work was fulfilling in ways my old job had never been, and I was making more money than I'd ever dreamed of as a small-town fire captain. I kept the house on Maple Creek Drive as a rental property, eventually selling it to a young family who reminded me of Becky and me 20 years ago. Hopeful, hardworking, grateful for what they had. People who understood that real happiness comes from building something. Together, not from chasing Instagram fantasies. Ryan and Megan visited me regularly in Columbus. Both kids were thriving in college, and our relationship had actually grown stronger through the crisis. They'd learned something important about integrity and consequences, lessons that would serve them well in their own relationships. Becky moved to a small apartment across town. Through Tony, I heard she was working part-time at a medical office, driving the same car, living a smaller life without the house or the husband or the future she'd thrown away. She'd started therapy, according to the kids, and seemed to be slowly coming to terms with the choices she'd made. I could have felt vindicated. I could have felt satisfied that justice had been served. Instead, I mostly felt tired, and then gradually, something that surprised me: peace. The last time I saw her was at Ryan's college graduation. She was there with her mother, sitting several rows behind me, and my girlfriend Lisa. Yes, Lisa Morrison had become a significant part of my life, proving that sometimes the best relationships grow from shared understanding rather than shared delusions. When our eyes met across the auditorium, Becky looked away quickly, but not before I saw something that might have been regret. After the ceremony, she approached me in the parking lot. She was alone, older somehow, wearing a simple dress that was nothing like the designer clothes she used to favor. "James, could we just talk for a minute?" I stopped walking. Lisa squeezed my hand and said she'd wait in the car. "What is it, Becky?" I wanted to say, "I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I want anything from you, but because you deserve better than what I gave you." She paused, looking at her hands. "I know it doesn't matter now, but I need you to know that I understand what I lost, what I threw away. You were a good husband, a good father, a good man, and I was too stupid to see it. For a moment, standing there in the parking lot of our son's college, I saw the woman I'd married, the one who used to bring me coffee when I was studying for lieutenant's exams, who'd cheered louder than anyone when I made captain, who'd held my hand through both kids' emergency room visits. "Thank you for saying that," I said. "It means more than you know." "Are you happy?" she asked. I thought about my life. The work I loved, the woman who thought my dad jokes were actually funny, the kids who still called me for advice and visited on weekends, the simple pleasure of being appreciated instead of tolerated. "Yeah," I said, "I am." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Good. You deserve to be happy." She walked away then, back to whatever life she'd built from the ashes of the one she'd destroyed. I watched her go, feeling something I hadn't expected. Forgiveness. Not the kind that fixes everything or pretends the hurt never happened, just the quiet recognition that we'd both paid enough for. Her mistakes. 25 years is a long time to love someone, but sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let them go. You're embarrassment-free now, just like you wanted, and so am I.